All right, so I just want to do an overview because I can't believe how far the healing has come with the clarity of being able to recall things and get back into my memory like I never have been able to. So the healing's working because it's causing a lot of clarity, uh, which is absolutely amazing. I'm just trying to recap here. I wouldn't. None of this would have happened. I've tried talking about my abuse over my lifetime with everybody. Nobody wants to hear it. Everybody just wanted me to shut up. That's why I stay. I just stayed in the bottom of a bottle. Just keep the bottle turned up and be all right. Um, because when you can't have a conversation, a critical conversation, and everybody just wants to talk about horse shit and bullshit, you know, all I could do was drink. Nobody wanted to take care of issues. Nobody wanted to take care of problems. It was how stupid can you be? How much useless knowledge do you hold? So drinking was perfect for that. You know, um, and I just went through life, and the older I got, and the more trauma, and the more head injuries, and the more just physical injuries, and the more abuse, and the more crazy shit, and just life, and it came to the point where 10 years ago, 9 years ago, whenever I had that TBI and I had to go live with my sister, who wanted to have trauma wars with me, and then I had so I lived with her for 2 months, and then I had to get away, and I went to my brother's, and I stayed with my brother, and then the VA tried to kill me. Okay, you know what I mean? And it just just crazy shit after crazy shit. Well, when I left my brother's and I committed myself because of the drugs that the VA had me on, and they they wouldn't let me go until I went on harder medication. So I took their harder meds. I was up there for however long, took their harder meds, and then finally they put me down in general population. I got down in general population, had some dude fucking give me a ride straight out of there back home, and I got rid of all my meds. Since then, pill wise, I believe I've only taken ibuprofen and Tylenol, and I only take those when I feel a migraine coming because I can't deal with migraines. So, more rarely than anything. And I say that just to establish, because all these people, like all my family members, are all highly, highly medicated. They're all highly medicated. Legally medicated. So that makes it okay. Because that helps you think critically, being legally medicated, So yeah, and I've just been working. I've been all cash since my divorce from my first wife. So like for 18 years, I have no debt. I have billionaire family members that I've just been treated like gutter rat. You know, I'm not a great guy, but I'm not a bad guy. And from what I can tell, everybody thinks at 43, even though I'm completely broke, I've had a history of head trauma, major history of head trauma, and people because I speak words that people don't like, they want me their only solution is for me to be quiet and go back to work. But the thing is I can't go back to work because, I work as I can, and I'm working enough to survive and keep a roof over my head and food in my belly. But other than that, I can't work anymore. I mean, these videos is about all I do all day other than rest and concentrate on my healing. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's what's been going on. I'm able to think very critically. I've been sober off alcohol for almost 2 years. I was an alcoholic since I was probably forever, till I was 41, I guess. I quit. It's been almost 2 years. Yeah, so I'm 43, 41. And then I quit cigarettes almost a year and a half ago. I quit caffeine at the same time. I haven't had any caffeine. I do have a sugar addiction. I had a traumatic brain injury 9 months ago, thereabouts. It from whiplash that messed my spine up, messed my back up, and gave me a major concussion. I had miniature concussions. Been having since my TBI 9 years ago. I've been having miniature concussions every 2 weeks. Which, okay, getting back to the concussions, what was happening was, so I thought, I had braved my child abuse, I'd gotten through it. I was stronger for it. I was wiser for it. And that's what I thought. But that wasn't it at all. I had actually cut my mom off, 10 years ago. So all this stuff happened about the same time. And I actually said I was over my child abuse back when I was young, like 18, as soon as I was able to do things on my own outside of the house. So that being said, I thought the solution to abuse was just to go, oh, well, I'm good. I'm still here, still kicking. I'm a little wiser. I'll watch out for that motherfucker again, but I'm a little, otherwise, okay. But it's not like that at all, guys. It's that abuse, it gets stuck in the body, and when it piles. And what it does is it creates dissonance in your brain. So not only is it storing itself in your body, but if you're under constant abuse, it's creating constant dissonance in your brain, which creates major fucking problems that I'm dealing with now, which I've gone into about cognitive dissonance, Stockholm syndrome, group think. If you guys don't know what these words mean, you definitely need to take time and make sure you know. You can go back, watch my videos. Cognitive dissonance, Stockholm syndrome, group think. Just those three for a basis are fine. I mean, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep everything simple because this world is just so busy. Everybody wants to create a distraction. Everybody wants to go outside themselves for answers. And then there's so many people that love being gurus, that are like, oh, you're looking for an answer? I got an answer. Here, pay me $5. I'll give you an answer. I mean, so we're cutting all that out because that's the only way we're going to fix these issues, because my brain damage, everything got so bad, my nervous system got so shot that I literally am only able to sit here and heal and go to work as much as possible, enough to pay my bills to be able to survive and heal. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm going to continue to do until I'm healed. So yeah. So I guess in a nutshell, I have abusers still perpetuating abuse onto me. Still. I mean, and it's crazy. And I guess what I'm trying to do is, abuse is abuse, guys. If you're controlling, manipulating a situation, even your kids, if you are constantly having to abuse your children and punish them and just, I mean, that's bad. And it's based off a bad system that we grew up in. We grew up in that. We were beat. We were told, listen, the only way a kid is going to know how to do anything is if you beat them. You have to beat them to teach them how to eat. You have to beat them to teach them how to fucking sleep. You have to beat them to teach them how to play. You got to beat them for everything. And that's how we grew up. And, that's bad. That's so bad. Like trauma-based fucking trauma-based education. That's a good one, man. So what? The genius is the one who gets beat the hardest. God damn. Oh my God, people are out of their minds. What we're trying to do, what I'm trying to do, is be with my dying breath here. All I got left is my breath and common sense. And what I would hope to accomplish with those two things is maybe spark the soul within you, the critical thinking within you, you know? Stop the groupthink, realize you have to realize the programming you're under, take it all the way back to birth, realize you've been traumatized since birth, realize you were pulled out of a fucking safe, beautiful, wonderful place, smacked on the ass, tossed around, bright lights, fucking cold atmosphere, metal, fucking brick. I mean, it bad, guys. And then just put on the program. Toxins immediately put into your body. Fucking immediately put on the program. Beaten into submission. Beaten and put into schooling. You know, compulsory schooling. I remember as a kid, I failed kindergarten. I was born in 1979. I failed kindergarten. So I went to kindergarten twice. I remember as a little child, I don't remember like videotape, like type of deal of my life. I remember like snippets, you know, like either a picture or like a real quick, like maybe 4 pictures, you know, action picture. That's how I remember. And I remember having the dunce hat on multiple times. I remember the teacher in my face and I'm looking and the whole student body's looking at me, you know? And I just remember this. And I remember like not being able to sit still. And I remember sitting Indian style because I remember like that's one of the first things. They teach you how to count. They teach you dinosaurs. They teach you how to Indian sit and they teach you space, right? Like all bullshit. And I'm like sitting there Indian and I'm like, fuck. And I just remember like I was going to explode. And I couldn't do it, man. It was very difficult. And, so I had to move. And that was me, man. I had to fucking move. I would jump up on the seats. I would, my mouth would go. I would ask questions. I wouldn't just take what they were saying. I would sit there and ask them back, you know. So that was me as a child. As a young child. Dunce hat. Slap. Back then, I think the teachers could slap you with the ruler on the hand. Put the dunce hat on you. Put you in timeout. You know, all those punishments they did to those bad kids. Basically, kids who just couldn't sit still. You know. And that was my issue. I couldn't sit still and I couldn't understand it. I was like, come on, guys, if we all move at the same time, they can't stop all of us. But nobody ever, there were a couple other kids, who had major issues. There was, and that's the group I've been in my whole life, because that's how my energy, that's what I've associated with my whole life is movement and difference and poking the bear and asking questions and intuitiveness and, instinct and questioning and, so I'm just like discovering myself, my true self. And my true self is just very inquisitive, very curious, very wanting to know, but very honest, very to the point. Struggle with humble. But I am humble, but I outwardly, I struggle with pride, probably other people when they look at me, because that's part of my defense. But I'm really like, I'm very soft-hearted. Like I can look at my younger son, reminds me a lot of me. Like he's got friends, like this kid has been wrestling for 9 years. Like he's a stellar athlete. He's good in school. Everybody knows him. He's got friends across the board. Like he hangs out with every different group of person. He can hang out with anybody. But he is extremely opinionated and wants to be heard, and when he has a question, he's going to ask it because his teachers can't wait. This is his last year in middle school. They cannot fucking wait till he's out of that school. In the high school, oh man, I'm sure they've heard of him because his older brother went through the high school, but he's different than his older brother because see, I've been there to raise him. I wasn't there for his older brother. I was a severe alcoholic who was having major brain trauma, who had just gotten married, had a baby, you know what I mean? So that's what I was doing instead of raising my son. And I remember pushing my son. I remember that bitch, my second wife, got me so pissed off. Okay, I'm not blaming on her. I did it, but I pushed him. He was like 12 years old, maybe 13. But I pushed him on his shoulders, and bucked up on him. And that was the last time, and that was over. That was right before everything went out. I was done with it. And I was just done. After that, and I felt like, okay, bitch, you are making me do things and feel like I got to do things that I don't want to do. So that's not happening. So that, it was shortly after that. But, where was I going? Just abuse, more abuse. More abuse. It's very common. Daily. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to remember. Every day, it was something. Every day, it was always something. Always some kind of some form of abuse in some way, shape, or form of another. God damn, man. A lot of abuse. A lot of abuse. And that's what I've been around my whole life, abuse. Because birds of a feather. You know what I mean? Someone who, the only people that would want to be around me are other people who are abused or people I'm taking care of. Because if you're on my side and I'm in charge or I'm taking care of you, then you want to be in that position. Because I'm one of those people. I'm someone who's going to protect you. Or someone who's going to use me. Those are the only people. And that's what I'm viewing my sister now. What her position in this was that her narcissism was not due to abuse. Her narcissism was due to, because she was raised by me and my brother and then her older sister and then my mom. And, so she was the golden child. She was given everything. She never had any issues. Anything she went, she was given. And that's to this day. That's why she married the husband she married. So she could continue it. And that's why she was holding on to me. Because I was a product of abuse. So she could roll her game on me and get services out of me. And keep me on the tag by sending me a care package, you know what I mean, acting like she cared, when she never even acknowledged my abuse and was just like, still hasn't, so she was willing to give up so much. What these narcissists are willing to give up, she was willing to give up the little bit of time and money and attention it took to send me a couple care package over the past year, and some bullshit text messages, of how much she cares. They love virtue signaling. They'll tell you how much they care. But acknowledging severe abuse that to this day has not been acknowledged as a child. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm just tying everything in, and it's all tying in wonderfully. Everything.